Okay, so today we're going to compare the Autel EVO versus the Skydio 2. I feel that this is the fairest comparison between these two drones since they have such similar specifications. Stick around.
Merry Drone-ness! Feliz Navi Drone!
What's good, everybody? Welcome back. And like I said, today we are taking a look at the Skydio 2 and the Autel EVO. These drones really go pound for pound with each other, given their price and current specifications. Let's just jump right into the specs while we're talking about that. Each of these drones are capable of shooting in 4K 60. The EVO was the first compact sensor drone to be able to do this beyond the Phantom 4 Pro, which had a 1-inch sensor. This right here can shoot 4K 60 in HDR, has a compact sensor, and is really beautiful straight off the SD card. The EVO is no slouch when it comes to video and photo, with up to 14 stops of dynamic range, only to be rivaled by the Skydio 2. Both of these drones are capable of up to 25 minutes of flight. However, the EVO is going to get you just a little bit more. From takeoff to land, I typically average about 26 minutes of flight, but with the Skydio, you're going to get anywhere between 23 to 25 minutes of flight, depending on your flight conditions. Battery is one of those things that is really dependent on the user and the pilot. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that these are different with, and it's really with obstacle avoidance. The EVO has 2 obstacle avoidance sensors in the front and 2 sensors in the rear, while the Skydio has 6 sensors, 3 up top, 3 on the bottom, making this the world's smartest consumer drone. Now, both of these drones come with an incredible build quality. I have no complaints about the build quality from either, and they both offer American-based customer service, which many of you may like if you're here in the States. If you're not here in the States, well, this may be a reason why you aren't seeing these in your country as of yet. But for Canada and the US, the Autel EVO and the Skydio 2 have some of the best customer service that I've ever seen from any drone manufacturer. Okay, so let's talk about that $999 price tag and what that exactly gets you. With the Autel EVO, you are going to get 1 battery, a carry-in pouch, and you will also get their controller. Now, their controller has a built-in OLED display, which is great because then you don't have to worry about any phone compatibility issues, or if you forget your phone, you can still fly. Now, the $999 on the Skydio gets you just the drone itself. That's it. So if you were hoping for a controller, nope, that's $150 extra. And if you want to couple that with the beacon, it is $150 extra. So the controller for the Skydio 2 is basically a reused Parrot Anafi controller, and not really a fan of it at this point because of the reception, and the range has been pretty limited. But if you want to tack on their proprietary beacon, this is what you're looking like. And yeah, it's pretty small and compact. You can fly it with this. You can even use this with your phone and extend the range, although the range isn't all that great. So either one of these is definitely going to be a necessity if you plan on flying it. But that then brings the price well above the $999 base point. In looking over these two cameras, they look very different. The gimbal designs are incredibly different for each. While the Skydio 2 actually supports a true 3-axis gimbal, the Autel EVO is not. One of the axes is actually built into the barrel, and that probably has to do with a lot of the reason why many users, when they first got this drone, suffered from horizon tilt. Now, the interesting thing, and one of the primary reasons why I'm comparing these two drones, is because they were both smaller companies, not like DJI, which is a massive conglomerate, but they're smaller companies, and each of them have suffered through some sort of weird issues at launch. The EVO had, like I said, the horizon tilt issue, and the Skydio 2 has no telemetry on their application, and they're definitely having some issues with range with this drone. But how does the image quality stack up to one another? Well, actually, they're really close as far as image quality. Now, I shot all of these videos in automatic at 4K 60 frames per second, and whether you love it or hate it, I shoot in 24p for all of my YouTube videos. So yeah, sorry not sorry. Take a look at this footage and we'll be right back. Okay, so after looking over that footage, it's still impressive that the Autel EVO has such an amazing camera for a drone that is now 2 years old. The Autel EVO was introduced at CES 2018 and didn't launch officially until June 6th of 2018, but still, this drone is 2 years old and it's still packing some powerhouse specs, and it goes head to head with the Mavic 2s, and it's just a really amazing piece of tech. What I really love about the Autel EVO is the fact that you can fly this thing anywhere unhindered. Obviously, you have to be safe about that, but the drone just produces great images, no geofencing, no big brother to tell you that you can't do this or you can't do that. Again, you still have to be responsible, but you know what I mean. Now, the Skydio 2 doesn't have geofencing as well. However, this drone was launched 2 months ago and actually finally making its way into people's hands just recently. And yeah, you can fly this thing basically anywhere as well, but you have to be very safe and careful with this because in urban areas, yeah, Wi-Fi interference is definitely going to have a direct impact. And this drone does not avoid moving obstacles. So you still want to fly this like you would any other drone. Be careful with this because this is a whole different animal than the Autel EVO when you are in flight. But I am a big fan of the Skydio 2. I think it's served really well, and it's going to be a drone that many people flock to. Now, for tracking purposes, I did test these two in a very unfair comparison, unfortunately, because dynamic track is nowhere near as capable as the Skydio 2's motion tracking. And unfortunately, Autel suffered in that department for quite a while and definitely fallen to third place as far as tracking goes of drones, because the Paradinafi and the Mavic lineup definitely get tracking right, while the Skydio 2 just obliterates them all with the crazy autonomy that this thing offers. Now, I went ahead and did a couple of tests where I tracked myself from the front, from the rear, and from the side, and the Skydio, obviously, as you could have guessed, dominated all those. But I get it, a lot of the pilots that follow me typically just want to fly a drone as a drone and not have to worry about tracking themselves, because let's just face it, that's not all that interesting, but the scenery around you is. And if the scenery around you is, the Autel EVO will definitely be a great choice. However, a couple of things you should know if you do decide to get an Autel EVO. It is 2 years old. They are producing a second generation of this drone, and this drone, even today, still suffers from horizon tilt, and I have to constantly calibrate the gimbal. As you see in the application, I have horizon tilt that had to be calibrated and adjust the roll axis. So if you're not okay with maybe having to change that from time to time, the Autel EVO is probably not going to be for you. But if you want a drone that basically you can just take right out of the box and fly and has a dead simple application, the Skydio 2 can definitely be a good choice for you. The nice thing about the Skydio is it's not really necessary to have a controller or a beacon, because again, this thing can track you. You can get away with just flying it with the phone controller and snapping off some great photos. And by the way, both of these drones did shoot some pretty phenomenal photos, if you ask me. I did finally figure out the DNG issue on these drones. Skydio told me if I'm using the controller and I take a photo with the shutter button, right now the shutter button is broken on that in the software and it'll default to JPEG. So if you're going to take DNG files, you want to make sure that you're tapping on the software on your actual screen. But I think both of the photos look great from either one of these. Again, it's going to be personal preference, but I do like the fact that I can put the Skydio in situations that I never really thought about and capture views that I was never able to see before. I've flown spots 1,000 times and I'm just now going back to fly them again because now I can put this drone where I didn't think a drone was possible to fly. That's going to do it for this video. I really don't have a clear-cut winner. I know you guys probably wanted a clear-cut winner, but I don't have one. They're both great drones and they both serve their different purposes. Some of the negatives about this: can't fly at night. You can fly at night. And yeah, I guess that's really all for the negatives portion of it. I mean, it's more or less the Skydio is not an everyday, all-day drone, while the Autel EVO really can be. So you'll have to choose your poison. Do you like tracking? Do you want to have a curfew? Or do you want to be able to fly this thing anywhere you want and whenever you want? Now, keep in mind, CES, they could drop that EVO 2 that we saw leaks of, and the game could change all over again, and then we'll have to revisit this comparison. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to smash that like button. And if you haven't already, check out the merch store. I do have fly apparel down below. I am releasing a lineup of bras for my female audience, which should be in production soon. Anyways, take it easy. Enjoy your Christmas. I'll see you next time.
Other than cookies and milk, did he have something like bangers and mash?